Good morning. It is 7:19 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, August the 20th, 2020. On August the 26th, 2020, a very significant fight is taking place for various different reasons. I'm TstreeT Controversy with FightView360.com, and as you can see, we've been putting out a lot of content lately, and we're getting back in the loop. But we are in a fight week. Even though the fight is taking place on a Wednesday here in the States, nonetheless, it is a fight week. Jeff Horn versus Tszyu. Really don't know what it's for yet. Big J, you there?
Yeah, g'day, mate. How you going? Hope you're all doing well.
So, where do we start? Right now on the screen, I have up the mainevent.com.au website where Horn versus Tszyu is going for $60, $59.95. And it's going to be on Wednesday over there in Australia, August the 26th at 7 p.m., correct?
That's correct, mate. Yep, that is correct.
So they have a timer up here.
Down.
It says it's exactly 6 days, 11 hours, and 36 minutes away. Crazy, it's here. So where do we begin?
Main event does that about a weekend. They do that time clock, so.
I like it. I like it. So where do we begin?
Oh, well, I think we should begin on the price.
Yeah, you were telling me this is something different.
Expensive.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You were saying that this what you were about to say was this is like an expensive pay-per-view for you guys, the most expensive?
The most expensive since Floyd Pacquiao. I mean, UFC the other day was only $55. Tyson versus Fury versus Wilder was only $50. So to have a $60 price card for an event of this caliber in an economic climate like there is with COVID, where there's 22%, like the unemployment rate hasn't been this bad for 22 years. I think, in my personal view, Main Event might be pricing themselves out of some buys, especially in Victoria, where we're in lockdown, where you can't go to your mate's place to watch the fight. You've got to watch it in your own home by yourself. You're not allowed to have mates over in Victoria. And Sydney and New South Wales are going the same way. So there's the two most heavily populated states in the country can't, every single place that wants to buy it, you've got to buy it yourself. So you can't split it with your mates.
Yeah, $60. That's getting close to American numbers right there. For a pay-per-view. Ours over here is about $75 now, for high definition. So, lucky for us.
I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I think in this economic climate, and plus there won't be any pubs showing it. Not in Victoria, and there'll be a lot shut down in Sydney. They're only allowed to have 50 or so people anyway, so pubs won't be showing it because they won't make any money out of it. So in Victoria and New South Wales, which are the two most heavily populated states in the country, they're missing out on a lot of revenue because $60 in this climate is a big ask. And on a personal note, Floyd versus Pacquiao for $60 was not the fight of the century, it was a letdown of the century. It wasn't worth $60. So that's just my personal opinion. So we'll see how that goes. But ticket sales have been going quite well. Stadium ticket sales are going quite well.
Yeah, so let's talk about that really quick for those who don't know. Right now, this is the first boxing event, to my knowledge, I know it has to be, that is actually going to have fans, 16,000 plus in the Townsville Stadium. Can you talk about the stadium a little bit? Like when was it built?
Yeah. Okay, so they just finished construction on it this year. It would have been in February. They had a Elton John concert on the 29th of February, like a week after they finished construction. And it is the home ground of the North Queensland Cowboys NRL team, which is the major football code that Queensland and New South Wales and Victoria play. So it's the National Rugby League, the professional rugby league team that's based in Townsville. It's been there for about 25 years. So it's the new home ground for the North Queensland Cowboys, not to be confused with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I have it up on the screen. It's a beautiful looking concept. I'm interested to see... how they're going to handle stuff like concessions, and are they going to have people have the beers be delivered to the seats, all that type of stuff. So while watching the broadcast, I'm definitely going to be paying a lot of attention to the crowd and the social distancing and things like that. And also, I'm going to be sure to be checking on social media. So basically, if there's anybody that's at the arena, if you follow us at either at FightView360 or TstreeT for Life, it's been popping up right there at the top of the screen. If you can tag me or whatever and show me your experience at the arena, just a little clips of you walking in, temperature checks and things like that they're doing, we'll definitely give you a plug. But
I could get that sorted. I got mates going to the fight, so I'll sort that out for you.
Yeah, just anything, just like even if it's just images of the crowd, like distancing and seeing how they're handling that, because this is a big deal. Like it's a crowd, 16,000 people. For a boxing
I've got a
event.
couple of mates that live in Townsville going to the fight, so I'll see if I can get that sorted.
Yeah, and then also just a little bit to tell you guys what we're going to be doing after the fight. We're going to be here with a live stream, and of course, everything goes well, we're going to have some highlights to the fight. And on our end, the American side, the fight's going to be on ESPN Plus Wednesday, August the 26th at 5 a.m. Eastern. Now, that's the norm for Australian fights. I know because I cover all of Anthony Mundine fights. So once again, it's going to be on ESPN Plus, Top Rank on ESPN, and likely probably Joe Tessitore, maybe Timothy Bradley doing commentary for us here in the States. And also, another thing is I wouldn't be surprised if this fight ends up being some type of IBF eliminator or WBA or something, sometime next week. So hopefully we'll be able to get the fight week schedule, and we'll be able to, kind of like gauge what the WBA and the IBF are going to be doing. But go ahead. All right, Jay. My bad. Let's move on, I guess.
Yeah, mate, the belts, now Tim's got the IBF Australasian Super Welter and the WBO Global Super Welter. Those are the belts that are going to be on the line on Wednesday night. So they're Tim's belts, not Jeff's. Tim is the champion. They've been doing this to and fro about who's going to come out second or whatever. I think it's a no-brainer. Jeff is the main attraction. Jeff comes out first. I mean, this reminds me of the Mundine-Gill fight, the first one, where Gill was the champion, Mundine was a veteran, and I can't remember which way, but I'm pretty sure that Gill actually got to come out second. But yeah, they've been to and fro and thing. But what are your thoughts on this? I mean, Tim's still very, very green.
No, Jeff Horn is the A side. It's not Tszyu versus Horn. It's Horn versus Tszyu, right? That's it right there.
That's correct. It's a Horn v Tszyu.
So
fight,
that right there, even though ESPN says, like right now, it's funny because ESPN says Tszyu versus Horn. Right here, on the ESPN Plus link. That's crazy, but no. It's Horn versus Tszyu. Horn is the first on the poster. His name comes first on the stories about it, all that. So I'm sorry, Tim Tszyu, he's got to earn that right.
Well, he hasn't earned that right yet.
But I get it. Maybe it's the mind games that they're playing. He's trying to play. I get it.
Well, I mean, funnily enough, the same team that his father had is the same team that Tim's got. They're all the same. Same manager. His grandfather's in there training him. Same managerial team that's got Tim looked after Kostya. So
yeah, talk about that. You were telling me something about that where you feel that maybe he could be, like you were talking about how like he doesn't want to see him in a hotel or stay in a hotel and things like that and see him before the fight.
There's been a lot of publications out that Tim wanted Jeff to switch hotels and he doesn't want to see him before the fight and all this other sort of stuff and acting like a prima donna. I was like, well, mate, you're not your father, you're Tim Tszyu, and there's a lot of the thing that really annoys me about, now this is not Tim's fault, is that anytime someone says Tim Tszyu, the next sentence they say son of Kostya Tszyu. Someone please tell me what the bloody hell Kostya's got to do with this fight. He's sitting over in Russia. He probably won't even be in the country for the fight.
Yeah.
He's Tim Tszyu. He's Kostya's boy, but he's his own man. He is Tim Tszyu. None of that. You don't need to put on at the end of it, son of Kostya Tszyu. It's irrelevant.
That's them trying to sell the fight.
Tszyu. I know that, but every time I hear it, I get annoyed. It's like Kostya's got nothing to do with this fight. He's not the one fighting. there's a lot of people out there that see Tim, and think of Kostya. But,
Yeah.
you know, he's Tim. And I think the team around him, you know, acts like he's Kostya. He's not Kostya, he's Tim. So I think a lot of people need to get past that. And in my book, he's far too green to be acting like, you know, oh, I want you to switch hotels and I don't want to see you before the fight. I'm like, yeah, you haven't earned your right to pull that sort of business, son.
Yeah.
So,
Over here in the States, we call that diva shit. Like he's being a diva. That's what they call it over here in the States.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we call it being a dickhead in this country.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're going to see, man. You know, we're 1 week away. So right now, I do have the card. I do have the card pulled up here. And you wanted to talk about some changes. So basically, let me read off the card real quick. It's going to be Jeff Horn versus Tim Tszyu, Liam Wilson versus Jackson Woods, Joel Camilleri. We have an interview we have that. I'm going to get that up in the next couple of days. Versus Adam Copeland, Shannon O'Connell versus Kylie Fulmer, Isaac Hardman versus Jamie Weech, Ben Horn, the brother of Jeff Horn, versus Patrick Clark, Lynn Sandstorm versus Jessica Cashman, and Vegas Larfield versus Ricky Hunt. So if you were to rate this card, you know, the undercard, giving it for Australian boxing. Let's not talk about the global scale. For Australian boxing, what would you rate it from an A to F?
I'd give it a solid B plus.
For Australian boxing, I see some undefeated names on there and undefeated fighters fighting. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid B. I mean, obviously, you know, we don't have any world champion. Actually, we have one. The only two people that they couldn't get for this card that they probably should have, but they probably couldn't find opponents, was Susie Ramadan and Louisa Horton.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably the two most prominent female boxers we've got going at the moment. There was an offer for those two to fight each other, but they couldn't agree on weight, so that didn't happen. But that would be the only thing that I'd say about this card that probably would make it even better, would be getting, because Shannon O'Connell is a well-established Aussie fighter. She's going for the she's competed for the WBC super featherweight title.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's competed for 2 world titles actually. So she's been around for a while. And funnily enough, the Australian super bantamweight, Susie Ramadan first won that back in 2008 or 9, I think. So she was the first winner of that title. Yeah, I like the undercard. It's solid, but just want to make it for all the fans out there that you're only going to see the top 5 fights. So the Ben Horn and the 4 Derby type fights will be on. They won't be on pay-per-view. They'll probably just be on the Fox Sports channel. I'm not quite sure which one.
Well, as long as they show them.
Yeah, they'll show them, but not on the main event. The main event card will start with, I believe, Weech Hartman, and then it'll go from there. So the bottom 3 fights won't feature, from what I've been told, won't feature on the main event pay-per-view. So it's just the top 5 fights.
All right.
But it's a solid undercard.
So, we talked about the pricing, we talked about the arena, the tickets, a little bit about Jeff Horn, a little bit about Tim Tszyu. Also, you say we're working on getting Jeff, or Glenn on Fight Week, right? In some capacity.
On that. Some capacity, yep. I can definitely contact Glenn Rushton again before the fight. They have arrived in Townsville. They put a thing on Facebook a couple of hours ago that they've arrived in Townsville today, I believe. So they're up there. I'm not quite sure where the zoo camp is. I dare say they won't be too far behind. Spoke to Joel Camilleri. He'll be in Townsville on Saturday. Don't know about the other guys. Haven't got a hold of them yet, or haven't had any contacts with when they're actually arriving in Townsville. But I dare say they'll probably all be there by the weekend, no later than that. And on Sunday, I'm actually speaking with Ben Damon. I've got a interview up with him. So he's our main event commentator, so I'm very happy about that.
Perfect. So since we only got a few minutes left in the video, we have to talk about this because it's my first time seeing it, that you pointed out to me that this is what I posted on my Twitter. Tim Tszyu takes the first knockdown of his career against Wade Ryan back in October of 2017 in his 7th pro fight. He faces Jeff Horn on ESPN Plus, August 5 p.m. So basically, I'm playing a clip in the background, and we're going to dive, into a deep prediction during fight week when we do our final, fight week predictions, probably after the press conference. Which is, can you just tell if you remember what the date is and the time for that press conference, Aussie time?
Oh, yeah, Aussie time, I believe. I'll get the confirmation from Ben Damon on Sunday when I speak to him, but I believe it's Monday, our time, at 2 o'clock. So Monday, Australian Standard Time at 2 p.m., so about midnight your time.
Yeah,
Sunday night or Monday morning.
All right, so the last two press conferences, we were here live, so we're going to do the same thing with this one as well. So let's talk about this real quick. So I'm letting the clip play. It's in the first round of October 2017 fight. Tszyu, he takes a knockdown from Wade Ryan, and basically what I'm seeing from it is, it's kind of ugly. It's like, why would you get caught like with something like that, Now, of course, some are going to say he's matured since then, and, maybe he's learned from it, but I'm thinking like, well, could it be a chin thing? Who knows? Who knows? What are your thoughts on it?
That's the way I'm going with it, because Wade Ryan is not a well-known big puncher. I'm just bringing up Wade's record. Since the Tszyu fight, he had losses to Mixer Rafa, Mel Carlos, Deatils in his third pro fight. That's the last time he fought, which was July of last year when he fought Daniel Lewis. Daniel Lewis appeared on the Fury Wilder undercard. Mexican bloke, I can't remember his name, actually I'll bring it up. You remember that fight when Lewis fought, what was his name? Sebastian Fundora.
Okay.
That was on the, that was on the thing. So, basically back to Wade Ryan. He's lost more fights than he's won since he fought Tszyu.
Yeah, he's 16-9 with 5 KOs.
Yeah, and he's not a big. I mean, look at his KO rate. He's not a big puncher, Wade Ryan, and most of his victories have come by unanimous decision. So,
yeah, it's a little, it is, it was young in his career. It's a little concerning, but, I'm not going to hold it against him, but it makes you wonder, how would he hold up taking a punch like that on the inside from a Jeff Horn?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Jeff is a known one-punch knockout fighter.
Yeah.
Tim's not. He's a very technical, he'll beat you down with 20 unanswered shots, but he can't knock you out one punch, where Jeff can. And he's proven it more than once. So, and Jeff, the thing is that people forget is that Tim's never been hit by someone like Jeff. Jeff is a known puncher, where the guys that Tim has fought, Dwight Ritchie only had 2 knockouts. Wade Ryan's not a big puncher. Joel Camilleri, not a knockout artist. All these guys that he's fought aren't known heavy-handed punchers. Jeff is. So I think Tim's in for the shock of his life come Wednesday. That's just my opinion.
All right. Well, I guess that's a good way to leave it off until, we get to our fight week video, which will probably be, well, actually, we're going to do it with the press conference. Yeah, that's perfect. So we'll have the press conference, and then we'll be able to go off that and, with our preview. So, closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts, the card's good. Like, Wednesday can't come quick enough because,
we've been talking about it forever.
It's been going on now for almost a year because they started talking about this in December of last year when both Jeff and Tim won their respective fights.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been going on for 9 bloody months now. So this has had more twists and turns than the Crawford fight. Remember they had like 3 different changes.
Yeah, I remember.
All out of the stuff. The Horn and Crawford. I thought the Horn and Crawford fight was a mess, but this is getting up there with this. So yeah. So I just want that to happen. We can talk about the results and we can move on to the next stage because at the moment this is all we've got going at the moment. So
yeah.
Yep. So but bring on Wednesday night because I just want to see these boys get in and hopefully Jeff gets the knockout in 6 like I've been saying for the last 5 months.
All right. Well, TstreeT Controversy. This is Big J with Fight View 360. Of course, it's fight week. So we'll see you guys next week. Please subscribe.